to say yes, Minister, yes, Prime Minister. Now, I haven't made my way on the yes, Prime Minister, but they're two of the most excellent representations of British satire to be found on any form of media. The portrayal it has of the inner workings of government was accurate in its representation of how politics work, because it's like they had a inline to the civil service and also the media as well that dealt with the inner workings of the government and bureaucracy.
I need to get us the pay rise in order to consolidate my own position. Now, what would you do in my place? In fact, what did you do when you were Cabinet Secretary?
You say Frank used the normal formula, comparable jobs in industry.
That's right.
And you need 43%.
Thereabouts.
Well, since virtually all the relevant staff work in London, you should start with a big increase in the London allowance. Allowances count as expenses. They don't count as a rise, so they don't show up in the percentage calculation.
London allowance.
Then you could introduce a special graduate allowance for those with firsts and upper seconds to aid recruitment.
He's he's taken he's taken full advantage of his question of help on how to oh my goodness, how to sway things to his side. So pay raises for civil servants and allowance raises for the civil servants, right up his alley.
Oxford doesn't give upper seconds, does it?
A second at Oxford counts as an upper second, at least. Then you double the outstanding merit awards. I take it people still get them?
Oh, yes, everyone.
They don't count as rises either. Are we getting there?
Well, that still gets us down to only about 18%.
Since last time?
Yeah.
Then don't calculate from last time. Calculate from 1973. That was the high point. And don't just take it to this year. Take it up to 2 years' time, the end of this claim period rather than the beginning. Correcting for inflation, that should do it.
Excellent. Well, the percentage increases will sound all right now, but that still leaves a problem. The overall civil service pay bill will still be too high.
Oh, that's easy. You must reduce the size of the civil service.
What?
That's not going to be that wouldn't be very popular at all, especially not amongst the civil service.
The service was smaller than last time. A comfortable rise for individuals would be a smaller rise in the total bill.
Yes, but real reductions in the size of the service would be the end of civilization.
No, my dear Humphrey, all you do is stop calling them civil servants.
They can move positions around. You go from being a civil servant to, I don't know what you would take an upgrade, what you would take and call secretary, well, you couldn't really call them janitor, secretary, underhead secretary. Like, you create new positions. That way they're no longer civil servants or called civil servants, but they'll still be doing the same task. Just go around. Their pay and having them around is justified, since you've cut down the size of the civil service by moving around numbers or positions.
Take the museums, for instance. If you turn them into independent trusts, then all the staff stop being classified as civil servants. They're still the same people doing the same job and still being paid by government grants, of course. But as it's a grant, it doesn't count in the pay statistics. Unless anyone inquires closely, it'll look like a cutback.
But can we set up so many trusts in time?
Well, you may not have to do it at all. It only has to be planned for some time in the next 2 years. If it doesn't happen, it won't be your fault. Meanwhile, it means you should be able to get the rise to work out at 6% overall.
Oh, thank you, Arnold. That's a great help.
So now he has gotten not only is it going to make him look good by making it look like he's shrunk the bureaucracy with the amount of civil servants by taking and making new positions for them, so they're not considered civil servants, but everybody's getting a pay raise. Genius. Absolutely genius. The script itself was so good that both Eddington and Hawthorne both wanted more than one show script to ensure that the show wasn't just a one-off or a flash in the pan, because they saw the scripts and the potential for the show was gold.
Are you sure your colleagues would accept such a small rise, 6%?
Well, if I had your support and cooperation over the secrecy, yes.
It's still got to get through Parliament. Backbenchers always hate civil service pay rises.
Oh, how interesting you should say that. I was just about to make a suggestion. A major reform.
Yes.
it seems like the civil servants or civil service, they're always like 3 steps ahead of where he's at. Like whether it's in the wording or the plans that they tell him about, because they've seems like they've always had that on contingency anyways. I mean, they're the ones that take and make government work uh, as it stands in there. So I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Well, Prime Minister, if MPs' salaries were to be linked to a grade in the civil service, they wouldn't have to keep voting themselves pay rises all the time. Every time the civil service got one, they'd get one as well, automatically. And if MPs' pensions were to be index-linked as well, it would make them much less hostile to civil service pay claims.
It certainly would.
So everybody, not only them, but the Prime Minister, so everybody's getting pay raises. You take and link the two together. One gets one, the other gets one. That's a lot of government money going out.
Excellent. Thank you, Humphrey.
Prime Minister.
What grade do you think backbenchers ought to be?
Oh, I thought senior principals.
Isn't that rather low?
Well, backbenchers are rather low.
To what grade should cabinet ministers be linked?
Undersecretaries?
And the Prime Minister?
Well, at the moment, you earn even less than I do. Why don't you grade yourself as a permanent secretary?
Thank you, Humphrey.
After all, this is a partnership.
Here, I'm feeling generous. This is what you should do. If you compare this show to shows in the U.S. such as West Wing, Veep, or House of Cards, yes, Minister stands head and shoulders above them. Which, when you take into account that the British are better at satire and humorous shows in the U.S. in general, it makes viewing it that much better. I mean, which satirical show would you rather watch? Father Ted or South Park? The Thin Blue Line or Brooklyn Nine-Nine? It's not even really close. Hope everybody enjoyed this reaction. Y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.